Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. We know that you are in very different regions of the world, different languages, because today we speak English, French, Portuguese. So thank you very much again for many of you being regulars to our sessions, to PAFO, the Pan-African Farmers Organization in Africa, and COLEAD, the institution I work for, a series of sessions today, number 15, linking actually smallholder farmers, SMEs, MSMEs, SMEs, and the private sector in support of sustainable food systems and the agri-food sector. Today we have a very, very interesting topic, which is technological innovations in the agri-food sector, and each time, as usual, putting the spot and the focus on entrepreneurs. What are the adoptions by SMEs and entrepreneurs in Africa, and always local entrepreneurs, men and women. It happened today, actually, that the two women that were in the program couldn't make it, but we will have more of those in this topic. So before giving a frame, we have in different sessions talked already about parts of the technological innovations, be on the food processing, be on techniques of drying agri-food products, be on logistics and solar and so on. But today in the program, we will speak a bit more of some of the existing technology, especially on the digital part, not only but with a focus on that one and different models within this. But we will get back to it. I think that Babafemi and Jeremy are better placed to give us some introductory and setting the scene remarks. First, I give the floor to Babafemi OYEWOLE, who is the CEO of the Pan-African Farmers Organization. You know him very well already. He's a regular, he's a co-organizer of this series. We appreciate very much the partnership with PAFO and its members, and we are very pleased to have Eastern African Farmers Federation Executive Secretary today with us as well, presenting in a bit later. And Babafemi has a long experience, of course, of public, private, but also non-governmental sectors. You might have known him in his previous work as a CEO of the African Agribusiness Alliance, as the CEO of the African Cashew Alliance, and the former executive director and CEO of the African Energy Investment Corporation, among other things. So without major delay, thank you very much, Babafemi, for joining us. And please, you have the floor for some introductory remarks. Babafemi, if you can hear us. I know that he's traveling. He was with us a few minutes ago. So while Mohamed checks if he has lost his connection, if not, I will go to in between to Jeremy, if you don't mind, Jeremy. Jeremy KNOPS is the DG of COLEAD, the organization I work for, an association, non-for-profit association of private sector operators, very active in Africa, of course, and other regions in the world. Jeremy has, of course, a long experience on the agri-food sector, not only in Africa, but Latin America and other parts of the world as well. Very much expertise on matters related to private standards, certification, of course, ACP production and exports with a focus on fruits and vegetables, but other value chains as well. And thank you very much, Jeremy, again, for being with us today. And perhaps while we get Babafemi back, if you don't mind starting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isolina. I just saw that Babafemi has been able to rejoin us. So thank you also, Babafemi, for being with us. And thank you to all of you, participants and panelists, for being with us today and for having been with us during all the past sessions that we've been organizing so far in collaboration with PAFO. A warm welcome. Today's session is exciting, and I won't be extremely long in introducing it, but I'd just like to remind that ourselves as an organization, as a private sector association, not for profit, what one of our common threads throughout all our work, which again is geared towards achieving SDGs and making sure that the agri-food sector is in a better position to contribute to achieving SDGs, is to work on the human capital. It's to work on skills, competencies, and information. Of course, so when it comes to new technologies and including, of course, smart agri-tech and what's happening in the digital space, we see ourselves as having three functions that we're able to implement thanks to the support of our donors, of course, through programs such as the Fit for Market Plus program, which is funded by the EU and the ACPS. So number one, it's trying to, as much as possible, providing a picture of what's there, what's out there, which is already challenging in itself. So it's monitoring, identifying, understanding, in some cases even piloting, and not always necessarily the most innovative or the newest or the most recent technologies that have appeared, but to also understand them and how they can be used in different contexts. Because we firmly believe in the importance, of course, of pursuing all activities related to research. But we also realize that these are cycles that can often take quite a while, and that in light of today's challenges, we also need to pay a close attention to already all the new technologies, innovations which are out there, but which are not always available everywhere, or which are not always suited in the different contexts. So first of all, it's this monitoring. Then number two, of course, is to the best of our ability, try to create the conditions to be able to link some very concrete needs being expressed by MSMEs, cooperatives, farmers, and with some of these solutions, and that usually, and this is an increasing part of our work, because we realize it is a kind of a continuous remaining challenge, linking this, of course, to the access to finance topic, because it's, of course, usually through investments that are being made by individual operators that the acquisition of some of these technologies can take place. And number three, of course, it's working on the skills that are needed, the competencies through capacity building, training, technical assistance to make sure that it's used to the full potential. In a nutshell, from my experience, of course, we have a couple of key learnings and some of the technologies that either we've been in touch with directly or indirectly, of course, through all the partners we work with in different countries. Notion of keeping it extremely simple for the end user. That is something that we've noticed has been one of a key success factor in the uptake of some of the technologies. It's really having a vision from the start of fully integrating this into business model, into the farm model, and linking it, of course, in a holistic analysis today on the environmental, economic, social side of how this can increase the overall sustainability performance of an entity. It's to make sure that it's localized, contextualized, and that the bridges then are being built between solutions that are being adopted or launched in a country, and that these can be then replicated or reused in different countries with minor or more substantial adaptations. And in that spirit, of course, this notion of creating synergies, partnerships are crucial, as for usually all the topics that have been addressed so far within the context of these PAFO-COLEAD series. So I'll leave it on this note. I'll thank again, of course, all participants for being here. Please participate in the chat, questions, PAFO team, COLEAD team, we're there to accompany you through all the support that also we have been mobilizing and that we're receiving from our financial partners. Thank you very much, Isolina. Back to you, and again, welcome, and I wish you a fulfilling and an interesting session.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And thank you very much, in addition, of course, to Axelle and Alison, and to the colleagues who are online, Edouard, Victor, and others who have supported this session as well. Babafemi, I introduce you. If you are ready, I think you lost the connection a few minutes. Thank you again for being with us today, because I know that it's not easy. Can you hear us, Babafemi?
Yes, thank you very much.
We can see PAFO.
I was surprised. I was surprised. I've connected 30 minutes before the time. I
said it. You were with us.
Yeah, it was a really embarrassing situation. Well, I think I can still welcome everybody to this 15th edition of the program, and want to really appreciate all of you that have been supporting this initiative, and the technical team that are behind the production of this program. We know that technological innovations is very crucial, and it's very important for agri-food SMEs today, and we need to really explore the opportunities that it presents to the SMEs and the agri-food entrepreneurs. And one thing we need to understand is that as these technologies are emerging, there are also challenges that comes with it for these entrepreneurs and SMEs to adopt them. And that is what we want to really talk about in this edition of the innovation session. And what we need to understand is the key questions. What are the innovations that these SMEs and entrepreneurs develop and adopt, which contribute to their to value addition and development of the value chains? And what kind of investment is needed to assist SMEs and the entrepreneurs to develop and adopt technological innovations? We know that one of the challenges of adoption of technological innovations is the initial cost of investment, which is often beyond the reach of these SMEs and entrepreneurs. So we are going to together look at how we can come around that and identify the investment that is needed. And finally, what policy support and incentives should be provided to SMEs and entrepreneurs to build their capacity to adopt technological innovations. So these are the issues that we're going to discuss in this session. And finally, in pursuit of his strategic pillar of farming as a business, PAFO will continue to collaborate and partner with institutions like COLEAD to support African SMEs and entrepreneurs to adopt and develop and deploy modern technological innovation that will boost their productivity, profitability, and sustainability. So I therefore call on all participants to feel free to contribute to the discussions and ask questions so that we can come up with workable prescriptions and policy recommendations that will assist agri-food SMEs and entrepreneurs to better take advantage of technological innovations and effectively manage the challenges for better outcomes. I wish you a very fruitful and successful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Babafemi, and thank you again for the great partnership we have. And thank you for remaining indeed that opportunities are there, and we will see from local, small scale, medium scale entrepreneurs, but also challengers, and in particular, even more for smallholders, obviously, initial investment, technological skills, access to infrastructure, maintenance, and so on. So we will, I'm sure that the speakers we have this morning will remind us about that. So we will have three speakers to start with, entrepreneurs, and then we will have still entrepreneurs, but also leaders of organizations that support entrepreneurs or research or the ecosystem. And then we will have the question and answer service. As always, I encourage you to put long before we arrive to that stage, the questions or comments or contributions you have for the panelists. And for the interpretation, as you know, it's at the end of your screen, you have a little globe and you have to choose English, French, or Portuguese. It's working well. So normally, please double check because I see a few comments there. Unfortunately, Paul Matovu, founder and CEO of the Vertical and Micro Gardening in Uganda, couldn't join today. He had a big personal problem this morning. So we wish him really very, very well, and we will get him in a coming session. So without major delay, we go to Cameroon. Donc Pyrrus KOUDJOU, qui est le fondateur et le directeur.
Pyrrus KOUDJOU is the founder and CEO of Promagric. He's an agripreneur, a specialist of artificial intelligence, full stack developer, promoter of Promagric and ClinicAgro. So Promagric means a promotion of Cameroon agriculture. It is a virtual platform bringing together professionals, namely farmers, selling their agricultural produce and buyers. And then ClinicAgro is a startup that develops technological solutions for agro-pastoral activities, so agriculture, farming, livestock breeding, and to optimize farm profitability, increase productivity and food quality, and better manage resources. Like it was said before in the introduction, we're all working towards improving the quality of our resources. Pyrrus has won several awards in France, Africa, but also in France. He is devoted to helping small producers. Pyrrus, are you present? Yes. Hello. Hello, Isolina. If we could ask Mohamed to share a brief video which will run with subtitles in English, by the way. Thank you for sharing the sound also. You can see the translation into English. You need to click on the three dotted line, the three dots that are at the bottom of your screen. On the Zoom bar at the bottom of your screen, there are three little dots. That's to get the original sound in French. Yes, that is the sound of the video. So Pyrrus, if you want, you can now start your presentation. Thank you very much. I am absolutely delighted to be part of this section organized jointly by PAFO and COLEAD. I'm the promoter of ClinicAgro, which is based in Cameroon. It's a startup based on serving agropastoral activities to improve profitability of companies and increase productivity and food quality. I'm delighted that Francophone Africa is present. You know, the small grower today does not have the means to have a reliable, efficient connections. So it's very difficult for him to plan his agricultural tasks. So without data, without having access to data, it's harder to plan production for a grower. So this is the reason why we have decided to target more than 20 million micro farmers in French-speaking Africa. We have three solutions. The first is a sensor which is connected to the soil, and it will enable the grower, the farmer, in less than 30 seconds to analyze the soil. The second solution is a big data solution, actually. It's a platform that will enable the grower to plan remotely. And the third solution is to be able to assess and narrate the agricultural projects. So, as I was indicating, the first tool is a sensor that will analyze the soil. There are a number of parameters that were taken into account: salinity, salt content, temperature, humidity, and so on. Let's move on. The second solution will enable us to plan better, for instance, fertilization. He will have access to weather forecasts in agriculture, to know how much fertilizer, what is the dosage of fertilizer to be used. And this is extremely important. You have no sensors here. So for the small growers who do not have enough financial resources, they have the possibility of using this reliable data to make forecast. Then you have the third tool, which is called EVA Agri. Here we have a technical score to see whether the farmer has technical skills, whether he has financial skills, whether he's able to sell his produce, whether he can market the products, and so on and so forth. And of course, make sure that social and environmental conditions are being met. So that will enable to get a score, a rating if you want, which can be improved as time goes on with experience. As I was saying, we need financing, 150,000 euros. So we are growing, so we need funds to be able to continue to grow on the targeted market. This is our roadmap. We have already more than 1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000 farmers who've been working with us. We want to have an impact on more than 2 million farmers in less than 3 months. So this is our team. In order to be able to achieve such solutions, the four of us have been working hard around the clock, practically. Myself, then you have Eric Wagna, who's project leader, Corentin, who's marketing leader, and then we have agricultural engineers all around Africa who are helping us to collect data with the farmers. So thank you very much. What I can add here is that all of the players on the value chain, so farmers, processors, distributors, play a crucial role in adopting these technologies, these innovations, such as precision agriculture, robotization, and this will help them reduce the cost and take advantage of new possibilities. I'm available for questions, and I'm delighted to be here today. Thank you very much, Pyrrus. So during the question and answer session, we will come back to what you said. We encourage you to put these questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to give the floor to Abraham.
Is the founder and managing director of InterConnect Point in Uganda. Actually, the technology also startup, which is not only based in Uganda, but also Rwanda now, if I understand right. They offer an industrial Internet of Things solution that improves the quality, control, and revenue in the agriculture tea value chain. And this is done, he will tell us more, by applying an e-nose and analytics engine to supplement and determine optimum levels of tea processing stages. So the company offers IoT infrastructure planning and management, design and maintenance of low power wide area networks, mobile satellite systems, and delivering data analytics as a service. Abraham, you have a background in telecommunications, mobile money, and systems administration. So if you could share with us the business model of InterConnect Point from Uganda. Thank you very much, Abraham.
Thank you, Isolina. I don't know whether the IT team is able to share my screen. Thank you, yes. So I'll present to you about our solution at InterConnect Point, where I lead as a co-founder and a managing director currently. We're a team of 3, and we've been together for some time doing this work based on a research background from our university and advancing it as a spin-off into industry. We're addressing a market industry of over 10 million tea farmers on the continent, majorly within East Africa. We are targeting over 300 tea factories in Africa. We are looking at a $12 billion market in Africa, and the 1.5 million metric tons per annum, and a compound annual growth rate of 12% forecasting to 2028. The key problem we're addressing is related to what the tea industry has been facing for more than 50 years, where I will give an example. If a tea factory, for instance, out of the 300 plus within the East African market, has produced a kilogram of tea, they normally trade in the Mombasa auction at maybe $5 per kilo. But the challenge is the inconsistency and the fluctuations, and then the revenue uncertainty that comes with that. Today, this week, you could produce at $5 per kilo, but the other week, you could produce at maybe $3 per kilo, or slightly above the average. So what we are trying to target is how can we leverage technology to stabilize the quality, reduce the price fluctuations, and enhance revenue stability for both the factories and the smallholder farmers who are over 10 million in East Africa. The why is during manufacturing of the tea after it has been collected from the farms, we have variable tea master scales where an expert will decide where a process is supposed to stop or begin. Then we have rules of thumb, labor, and basic hand tools that are applied in the manufacturing process. And then we had the gap in data analytics to track what is happening at different stages of production. And then limited ability to produce consistent quality that I've already talked about. And then the different and variable consumer preferences. Globally, for instance, when you're in the UK, you would prefer to target maybe a specific product from a certain factory in the region based on maybe the ability to have data about maybe food security pointers. If you know, you can trace back to where your tea has been grown, you can know how it has been produced, and you know it is consistently following a certain practice, then it gives you some bit of confidence. So the solution really looks at deploying proprietary sensors where we have gone ahead to work with different partners all over the world and different laboratories and makerspaces to come up with a combined sensor chamber where we track the specific gases during the production, which are emitted, for instance, through oxidation, or which is fermentation of the tea as you make the end product, and targeting gases like carbon dioxide, tracking oxygen, humidity, temperature, hydrogen, and others. So we combine this in our proprietary sensor approach, and then we deploy at different stages of the production. And then through that, we go over a cloud platform via Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud. And then we can push data to our machine learning platform. And then we're able to visualize to the interested parties within the factory to monitor their process in real time, and also to give access to data to different factories which are possibly poor performing, so that they can benchmark from different factories that have been performing to the global standard. And we also have interested customers who are interseeded customers that we intend to also fully focus on, who are interested in getting this data and analyzing it and making sure that they can produce, they can resell and sell based on quality data from the product they are putting out in the market. So consistent quality can improve tea factory revenue by up to 50% with the potential to add an additional 1.5 billion in revenue from tea within the East African region, and we think we have a role to play in that direction. So business model and the future or on our end is that we offer this to tea factories similar to sensors and analytics as a service, where we a tea factory pays for installs at the outsets or their factories, as well as ongoing analytics, so that they can find what they are doing. And then pricing is designed so that the factory has a return on investment in a sense that they should be able to reap up to 10 times the value of the investment. And we've been improving that over time, and we hope to achieve that in the near future. So the broader future has an area where we intend to improve factory design in a sense of energy usage. How can we improve that energy usage? You know, most of the tea factories use wood, for instance, to do their boiler systems to dry the tea. And we think we should be able to optimize the energy usage in terms of wood, burning wood, and maybe saving trees when it comes to the environment. And then also reducing optimizing electricity. We should not over ferment, overheat, over dry, over wither. Or let's optimize, produce the tea so that we have some bit of energy to save. And then we follow on to expand and improve reliability in other dynamic agro industries such as coffee, cocoa, and so on with our technologies. I think I've given you a brief of what we're doing at InterConnect Point. We've currently piloted and installed a number of POCs within Uganda and Rwanda, and we think we should be able to be in the Kenyan market fully in a few months from now to enhance what we are doing. Thank you very much for the opportunity of sharing with you, and I hope to be more interactive going forward with people that have attended the webinar.
Thank you very much, Abraham, and you will have some questions and further thoughts to share later when we get to the interaction with the audience. I see already some questions for Pyrrus. So the next speaker is Ulrich. Alors du Bénin, on va au Bénin cette fois-ci avec Ulrich DJIDO, qui est le cofondateur.
We are now moving to Benin. We have Ulrich DJIDO, who is the co-founder and chairman of BioLife Tech in Benin. He's an agricultural engineer specializing in sustainable production systems and with a particular expertise in waste recovery. He is particularly interested in focusing on the value chain of products from perishable horticultural crops, particularly fruit and vegetables, from production to marketing, and he aims to promote healthier, environmental-friendly agriculture while reducing post-harvest losses. He's going to explain to us what companies he has been dealing with, notably BioLife, which is specializing in organic inputs to upgrade the waste. We're really pleased to be working with them, with COLEAD, Enabel, who's also an organization of producers. And I have two colleagues, Edouard Lehmann and Victor, who are online and who can also take the floor after Ulrich. So first of all, Ulrich, thank you very much for being here with us. And thank you for sharing your presentation with us of this model. Thank you very much. Can you hear me correctly? Absolutely, we hear you. Go ahead. Thank you very much. As you indicated, I'm Ulrich DJIDO, and I'm here to speak about BioLife Tech. Our idea is to improve agriculture in Africa, by developing digital solutions, innovative solutions to meet all of the challenges that growers are confronted with. So we also want to allow the growers to have access to agricultural products. For this, we need to have precise agriculture, precision agriculture, and we also need to have traceability so that we know how the crops have been produced. This is important for accessing the market. So we want to know how they have improved their practice. And so this is why improving production practice is really enshrined in our approach. One of the solutions that we've developed over the last 2 years is this one. We've called it ePine-A. This is a digital application which connects producers with buyers using a dynamic map. So we're talking about producers, merchants, exporters, processors, and all of those who also are related to this, you know, carriers, packaging units, and so on. So on the basis of the markers that you see on the map here, these markers show a pineapple field in Benin. So in red, it shows that this is a recent production, less than 12 months. When the marker is in green, it means that the field has already received the flower inducing treatment or method, and for pineapples. And so producers, all they need to do is use our technical data sheet, which is at the bottom of the screen, And on the basis of 2 or 3 pieces of information, the algorithm is going to consider this and analyze the field. So we know what is the real-time availability, the contact. We can also have access to virtual stores where you can find derived products from ananas, from pineapple. And of course, you also have information on the platform that has indications regarding transport and logistics. So next to that, we also developed another solution, which we've called Cluster App, where organizations such as FINACOPA that have a structure and that cannot use our application because they have the producers, the processors, but they need to have a monitoring system such as this one. They might have 100 fields, for instance, and so they need on this basis to delocalize the production at times. So this app is going to help them with the agents that they have on ground, and they can know then exactly who is available, who has, say, the organic produce certification, who would be available. So this is a forecast tool, in other words, which can be extremely useful. Our business model is this. For the Cluster app, it's a subscription system. So it's $10 a year for each producer. And every time we need to create a data sheet, it's a cost of $5. And for the other, we also take a commission on each ton of pineapples which are sold. We take $8. I also told you about Marketplace, which is for the derived product, organic produce, which are being bought on the virtual store. So depending on the quantities you're going to purchase, we will take a commission that can vary from 5 to 10% per transaction. So when our action started, we met a number of challenges. We needed to raise awareness. We needed to train people. We needed to collect information. We were present. In other words, it's not like we were just hiding behind the digital platform. We were side by side with the producers. We helped them register orders. And we have, since 2021 and until now, we have more than 1,800 users, 1,200 producers, 250 food producers, 35 carriers, 200 single users. So these are people who come and see whether the produce is available. And of course, we have 70 merchants. More than 700 transactions took place, more than 400 fresh pineapple sales operations. So that represented 550 tons and more than 150 processing equipment and deliveries. I'll show you now a brief video to illustrate the process. So the problem is access to the market. The sound is very low, so it's very difficult for interpreters to hear. But they are trying to illustrate how to overcome problems. So production of pineapple is pretty difficult, and this is why we developed the platform. When you produce, what is discouraging is that after a few days, the pineapple becomes too mature and goes bad. So thanks to the application ePine A, I was able to sell my pineapples, says this lady, and we were able to sell the pineapple kilo after kilo. And I could see that I had an increase of orders. And I'm able to satisfy all my customers wherever there are. So thanks to the application, we have a dynamic map which helps us make forecasts. Ever since I've known of this application, I can't do without it. And we've used it systematically ever since. So you see, this was a brief video to show you the results that we have already obtained. And by 2024, we expect to cover 40% of our national market. In particular, we want to add new functions regarding traceability, but not only that. We ask people if we can see their crops, their fields. And so we're there to collect data, and this is going to help the producers themselves. So by 2024 and 2025, we will extend to the neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, the DRC, and other countries. And we could also consider applying this to other production. By 2026, we can reach the European market or part of it. And if people are interested in those countries, maybe they can reach out and give us some help so that we can achieve our goal quickly. You can see the team. It's a relatively young team. Thank you. Thank you, Ulrich, for this presentation, and thank you for the video. This was an extra. I hope the interpreters were able to translate. Otherwise, Axelle will explain you that we have a blog and you'll find all the information there. But thank you already to all those who have raised some questions to the members of our panel. So without further ado, we move forward with our product.
So without major delay, still with business development and enterprise development, but also from an organization that supports smallholders and value chain actors, but smallholders, member of PAFO, the Eastern African Farmer Federation. If you don't know them, please visit their site and contact them. Very, very interesting. I can say that because I know them for quite a long time now. Extremely efficient, very supportive of smallholders in all the Eastern African region. Great results, great leadership, and really that's what we want to show in those sessions, as Babafemi told you at the beginning. So Stephen MUCHIRI, thank you very much. I know how busy you are. You had many even invites for today. So very, very thank you very much for being with us. Executive Director of EAFF and also CEO of the e-Granary is going to present today. His background is horticulturist from Kenya, from the University Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, but he's the CEO of Eastern African Farmers, dedicated most of his life to this big task, to have them really integrated, included into the value chain at all levels, capturing as much as income and value as possible. So focusing on farmer entrepreneurship, strengthening the role of farmers along the value chain, which is critical for all of us. Babafemi was talking about, not being left aside, but being part of this movement. And he also plays a central role on the strategy, of course, of the EAFF. He will present to us today the e-Granary, a mobile-based digital platform which is led by farmers and which links to all relevant actors in the value chain. And for having seen that at the beginning, I am always impressed about how much and how far it has developed. And I haven't seen from my colleagues on the previous one, but please alert me if you want to take the floor after to bring some elements. Please, Steve, thank you very much for being with us, I believe from Kenya.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Isolina. Yes, I'm from Kenya. Yes, thank you very much. And I have a very quick presentation. I won't put my video now. I'll put it later for the purposes of connectivity. So we're presenting about the e-Granary. Oops. Oh, now it has stopped. Hello.
If you have problems, Steve, we can get it from our side. Axelle can share it if you want.
I'd shared and it was moving. Now it has stopped. Okay. Please, if you can share.
If you don't mind, Axelle, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know connectivity is very often an issue.
A challenge. Yes. So I'll be presenting about the e-Granary. The e-Granary is a digital mobile platform. And the whole idea about the e-Granary is to aggregate farmers, aggregate markets for them, make them attractive to the markets, and make the markets attractive to them next. So I'll be saying next. Yeah, so this is a comment from one of our e-Granary committee members from Uganda. And like Isolina said, it's by farmers, it's for farmers, facilitates farmers access markets, creates a financial history, facilitates access to credit by farmers, access to certified inputs, and it's easy to interact with. Next. So this is the outline of my presentation. So I'll talk about EAFF, how it works, the e-Granary works, the value proposition, some of the results, and sustainability. Next.
In 10 minutes.
So e-Granary is part of Eastern Africa Farmers Federation, and it responds to our third strategic plan, which is transforming smallholder agriculture into a rewarding investment. Eastern Africa Farmers Federation has over 25 million members in 10 countries, and we are part of PAFO, the Pan-African Farmers Organization, which has 80 million farmers in 48 countries. So the membership countries are in green. Next. So the e-Granary responds to our strategic objective number 2, which is leveraging digital technology. Next. Next. So this is a structure of implementation. So at the top is EAFF, and EAFF has formed a company. Now, we are working in 3 countries, Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya, and we work through our national farmer organizations, which then connect us to the respective regions in the country, whether it's at district level or at county level, depending on the structure of the country. And at the local level is where the e-Granary actually operates from. Next. So what we formed is what we call a holding company for the purposes of running the business. It's called EAFF Limited, and this is guaranteed, limited by guarantee, so fully owned by the Federation. But for the purposes of business, we have a company called Virtual Granary, which is limited by shares, and then it has what we call subsidiary companies in Uganda and Rwanda. Next. So that's a legal structure. So that's the first thing that you actually need to do. So how the e-Granary works is that it connects, those are 3 more or less like columns, and the e-Granary is in the middle. And we have a USSD platform as well as a web app. And like I said, we aggregate farmers through their cooperatives, through their groups, not as individuals, but through their cooperatives. And then we connect them to the left. And we provide, of course, contracts with the buyers, mechanization, inputs, access to credit, insurance, among many others. And that is the essence of the platform. You know, access to finance, access to inputs, access to extension, because on the platform, we're able to push out information for extension, and then we're able to connect them also to markets. Next. Next. So in terms of the structure, you can actually see it starts from the right. So once we sign a buyer contract, we have a buyer called ETG. Then the contract is broken down into farmer contracts because we are working from a master contract, working backwards. And since we have been able to mobilize all the other actors along the value chain, then it's easy to connect to the input provider. So the fertilizer is provided in bulk. We provide the extension service, but the extension service is a shared service because the buyer also provides extension, the insurance provides extension, the finance company provides extension, the inputs company provides extension. So all those support the system. So from the supply contract, which is more or less like a forward contract, we work with the credit company, and they actually finance everything backwards. So in essence, the farmer receives inputs, receives extension, and does not pay for anything up until the point of sale. And at the point of aggregation, we have actually mapped these aggregation centers. They are in GPS locations. So it becomes very easy for the buyer to actually go and collect this product with ease. And at the point of sale is where now we actually deduct whatever costs may be there. And since we are buying in bulk, all inputs are actually certified. It means they also get quantity discounts. And our revenue model is based on especially fertilizer, as well as commissions on sales. Next. So it's a very easy platform, and it's based on the fact that, you know, we have internet connectivity now almost everywhere in the continent. So the farmer just registers on a USSD model platform and reports how many kilos they are planting. So from the back end, we're able to tell what that is in terms of hectareage, what that relates to in terms of fertilizer requirement, what that relates to in terms of seed requirement, and we're able then to organize those at the back end with the input providers. We're able to present that information to the credit service provider, and they're actually able to provide the financing for that because it's based on the contract, because the contract is actually the collateral. And then at the point of harvest, then they're able to report harvest. So it's USSD. It's very simple for any farmer. Next. So I want to present some of the data that comes from the dashboard. You can actually see the kind of data we actually have. You have the name of the farmer, their contacts, the nearest town, their county or district, their national identification number, their organization, their year of birth, their gender, and when they register. So it means we can disaggregate this data by age, by gender, by location, by cooperative, and so forth. And every year it changes automatically. So if you are youth this year, and tomorrow it's your birthday, you become 36 years old, and no longer a youth. So that data actually changes. And next, you'll actually see how it is summarized. Next, please. Next. Next, please. Next slide.
Yeah, I think he's facing a problem.
Yeah, so this is the data from a farmer group. You can actually see how they key in. So all the farmers, when they key in, we're able to see the total number, how many are maize, how many are rice, how many are growing even nerica, beans, green grams. And even when it comes to harvest, what has happened is that you have to train the farmers because the harvesting is based on what is passed by the country in terms of bag sizes. So if it's a 90 kilogram bag, then they'll say it's one bag, we know it's 90. If it's a 50 kilogram bag, for example, for beans, then you know it's 50 kilogram bags. And when they say they're bag, then you know it's one bag and it's 50 kilograms. So this data is very helpful in terms of what we call a farmer development, what we call a farmer payslip. Next. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, so this is the aggregated data, like I was saying. So in the dashboard, you're able to see all the farmers. You can see the farmer distribution, you can, in terms of age, in terms of gender. And when you want to send extension messages, either you can send the maize farmers or the rice farmers or all farmers or only women or only youth. So we can be able to disaggregate in so many ways. Next. So in terms of, and this is very important for a mobile platform, you have to be very clear about your value proposition. So for us, for the finance service providers, they are very clear. They're getting new clients, they're improving their lending margin, and they're introducing new trade finance channels. For an input provider, it's very clear that they're actually doing bulk selling. So they actually have a client and they're able to make money out of it. For the buyers, they are assured of the quality, they are assured of the volume, they are assured of the quantities. In terms of us as the operators, our revenue model is based, like I said earlier, on fertilizers because it's a margin, because of bulk procurement, not on seed, not on extension, because that's a public good, not on pesticides, because again, the margins are small, but in fertilizer, and then in sales, because then we are able to negotiate a better price because of the fact that we are getting the broker off from the line, and then we are looking at subscription in terms of elevating the revenue stream. And next, and then for the farmer, again, they are assured of the certified seeds, certified fertilizer, they are assured of the markets, they are assured of support in terms of extension because they provide good agriculture practices. And like I said, extension is a shared function. So this week is EAFF coming to visit. Tomorrow is a bank because they're also looking at their loan. The other time is a seed company because they want to look at the seeds germination. It's insurance because they have provided information that we can plant at this time. So that helps the farmer feel that you're actually part and parcel of the process. Next. And what are the results to date? So far, in terms of the market, we've been able to sell almost $3 million worth of maize seed, maize, beans, and soya. In terms of access to finance, in addition to the loans that the farmers are getting from their cooperatives, we've been able to issue almost $1.2 million in terms of loans. Next. In terms of extension, so directly, more than 20,000 farmers trained. Indirectly, we can over 50,000 farmers through digital training. In terms of the data, we didn't have bio data, we didn't have traceable financial data, we didn't have production data. And now on our platform, we have more than 263,000 farmers who are registered in Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. Next. So this is what we're actually offering in terms of technology. So we have a new SSD application, which the farmers are able to register themselves, report on their own data. And within, because they're either cooperatives or associations, we have trained someone who actually assists in that. Then you have a web app, which helps us to clean out the data, and check any errors and so forth. For extension, we provide an outbound voice web app. So we're able to record a voice and the farmer listens to that. We have a call center. We have a web dashboard, which helps us manage reports. And we also have a payment gateway, which is integrated to the M-Pesa. Though with respect to this one, most of the loans are disbursed by the banks. What we actually pay through this is maybe payments from the seller. Next. And these are partnership status. You can see we have over 25 partners with banks, with input providers, with off-takers, even with governments. So, and we have signed MOUs and so forth and so on. There are letters of agreement in the 3 countries. Next. So in terms of sustainability, this is how we look at sustaining an e-platform. First of all, the farmer has to make money. As long as they're providing a good service and there's yield increment, it means at the farmer level, the farmer is making money. And then and only then can you be able to make money as an e-platform. Number 2 is looking at the institutional and organizational sustainability. We're using the hub structure, which means that the groups are linked around a common aggregation platform that helps in terms of logistical management. We ensure that the leadership and management are strong and we are monitoring them. Then the corporate structure, I think I presented that in earlier slides to show that it has to be set up as a business, that everybody knows that this is actually a company. And then processes and procedures have to always continuously be developed so as to ensure that you're improving efficiency, quality of output, uniformity of performance, And the last and most important is partnership development. It's very important to have the right partners and always ensure there's trust, because you can see you're connecting the farmer from the farm to the market. Next. So this is the field. You can actually see how farmers register on the e-Granary. You have pamphlets. We do outdoor registration, outdoor training in halls, and so forth and so on. And next. And the final one is a storage. So like I said, these stores are GPS located, and there's traceability, because every farmer who delivers their product to the store, we have a traceability code. So you're able to trace back the farmer and know which farmer actually may have had challenges of quality. And in case that is picked out by the buyer, then that farmer is penalized for that particular product. So otherwise, that's my presentation. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Steve. Very, very impressive. And this responds very well to the concerns of Babafemi at the beginning that, farmer-led, farmer-owned and farmer-service facility, and always growing. I'm very, very happy to see that. So you can share some of the insights in a short moment, actually, on the questions part. We'll have now the latest presentation for today. Then I see already many questions, and that would be Daniel ANNEROSE, qui est en fait le directeur général.
Daniel ANNEROSE is the CEO of Manobi Africa, which is a Pan-African company. He is his passion is scientific expertise, but he's also a businessman. And I've learned that he already knew COLEAD. Now it is called COLEAD. So you've known us right from the start. Dr. ANNEROSE has experience in agricultural arid land. He's a member of the prestigious Senegal National Academy of Sciences and Techniques. He has created Manobi Africa, which is a company specializing in orchestrating agricultural value chains and drinking water sector across Africa. He also has provided Axelle branch, which is dedicated to agriculture. So it's he provides phygital, so it's a blending between digital technology with on-the-ground presence. So these solutions are extremely useful and brought to 60,000 producers over 10 African countries. So thank you very much for being with us from Senegal and to share with us your outlook and your experience as Manobi CEO. We know that you're also the link with research and science, which is of paramount importance when you want to create a startup in Africa. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. We are no longer a startup by now, I must say, not because of the size of the market, but because of the age we've been around. No, it was not derogatory, but we've been around now for some time, and we've been working on transforming agriculture in Africa. And the reason why we're interested by this particular topic is because our continent is still marked by being highly dependent upon imports, and the trade balance of our countries depends on this on imports, and it is the banks that fund the imports. But we do have the farmers, we have the oils, and we have the youth. So we have the human capital. So this is not normal. How come we have that? Well, our agriculture is small scale agriculture with smallholders who are poorly or underfunded. And in an area like ours, especially in West Africa, and in the Sahel or sub-Saharan Africa, the climate is such that the conditions are very particular. You could have an agricultural season is well defined in terms of time. So that means that the farmer needs to have all the means possible to sow, to harvest in time, and to be able to organize things before and after. And so he needs to look at the calendar and do with it. So in our continent, we're trying to see what is the origin of the problem and what could be the consequences. I'm going to try to share my screen, if you don't mind. Let me see if I manage to do this. I'm trying to do this. So you were talking about the concept of digital presence and digital agriculture. The concept that we launched in Kenya a few years ago is because we were aware that there were interesting technologies that could be used to serve a large number of customers, as e-Granary just demonstrated. And we also felt that we don't have a history of being able to use the data. Jeremy pointed out that we need to be able to understand how the data will be used by the farmers, maybe help them use the data, and also give us the feedback so that we can have an improved system. So this is the concept of digital agriculture, where we combine the digital technology and the physical presence on the ground. Danielle, just in case you think you're sharing, we do not see your images. I don't think we've received your slides, otherwise we could have helped you. Yes, that's it. We have your slides now. Thank you. So I continue with this concept of phygital orchestration. So combining physical presence and digital technology. Unfortunately, it looks like my slides are frozen. But forget about the slides. I continue with the explanation. The situation is such that the majority of farmers today do not have access to credit. And this is what e-Granary was trying to solve. And we tried the same by making sure that the whole value chain be organized in such a way that there is a connection between the producers, the industrial, the processor, those who are going to be able to inject funds in the value chain so that we can pay the production of the grower. Of course, you also have the suppliers of inputs and the suppliers of services. So we need, apparently, we are not moving in the right direction with the slides. So here, this is our mission statement in the agricultural sector. So this is the situation of small-scale farmers who are exposed to difficulties in getting access to credit. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So what we've done is that we've created a platform called Accelerant, accelerant to bridge this link between the producers and those and credit. So producers should not only be known as individual growers, but also as people who are connected. So they are in a network where everything is connected and co-organized with the banks, and you have tools to secure the use of the online credit, taking into account the agenda of the producer, and that productivity will follow and transactions can be facilitated before and after the production, and that these transactions can be as fluid as possible. So we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. And so we have three categories of services. I'm not going to go into the details, but we're using satellite technology to map and score. We're going to use artificial intelligence, and this is all part of the service so that all stakeholders, all the production managers can actually give the information about their crop and make sure that the transactions are secure. So this is part of the value for all the stakeholders. So the buyers, the insurers, the banks, the suppliers, and so on. So that's all very nice, of course, but there are risks which are associated with the funding of the value chain. And we believe that most of the risk come from the weakest link, which is considered to be the farmers. It is not necessarily so. In fact, our experience has shown that one of the major risks in the value chain in production areas like the one we have here in Senegal, where you have a very short rainy season. So the transactions or the period of transactions of all these stakeholders that you see on this slide are going to have an impact and destabilize the agenda, so to speak. So the calendar. So the risk is that even if you have the technology, you need to make sure that all of the players will accept to play the game together according to a certain score so that the orchestra can play the music, so to speak. Of course, we have the funding, we have all the ingredients for this to succeed. So the funding is there. Those who are willing to fund the import, the banks are willing, but there are internal processes within the banks or within the insurance companies or within the companies of the buyers and suppliers, which are not sufficiently taken on board so that the relationship will be properly orchestrated, will be properly organized, so that everything can unfold smoothly. So let's take the example of a bank. You need to have a clear agricultural policy as a bank. So you need to have processes within the bank to say, okay, I'm going to fund pineapple, but it's not the same as funding cashew nuts or as peanuts. Or if you do peanuts in Senegal during the rainy season, it's like doing pineapples in Cameroon in the wrong season. So you need to have a policy to fund the agriculture, which is fine-tuned. So the banks need to take into consideration the scale. If we need demonstration, we can do that. But if we want to ensure food security, if we want to redress the trade balance, if we want to create value so that youth will stay in the rural areas to work the land, then there is a lot more that needs to be done. Research needs to be conducted to discuss with each of the players so that African agriculture will be funded the way agriculture in Europe or in the US is being funded, because farmers there can benefit from a whole retinue of solutions that are still not accessible to African farmers. And that is what is missing. And we hope that these solutions will help them, not so much in terms of volume, but in terms of importance, of weight. So we want the farmers to be considered as suppliers of raw materials. So I wanted to say this, not necessarily to talk about us, but I wanted to open the horizon, because with Senegal and other countries of Africa, we see that the technologies that have been developed, and we saw this with Cameroon, these are solutions that we can sell, and our platforms are being used by farmers, and it is easier to work with the platforms that come from abroad rather than those that come from our own countries. So that means that our own players, our own people need to receive accompaniment to be able to have this orchestration of the whole, of all the elements of the value chain. So this was the purpose of my speech. Thank you very much, Danielle. I think we will be sharing more information about Manobi, and we will also refer to other digital solutions with great pleasure so that we can advertise.
Thank you very much also for reminding us about the many challenges, the many conditions that need to be in place, and the multifaceted approach, in a sense, that need to be in place for the technology to work. And indeed, it's not only technology, it's policies, it's finance, it's capacity building, it's skills. We repeat at each of our sessions that skills development is critical, but of course the digital literacy, the infrastructure, so all the conducive environment, all the ecosystem that has to work as well for all the value chain, because if it doesn't, it cannot work for one alone. Or it works in a very short time and it doesn't last. So yes, thank you very much. We have a series of questions. So what we are going to do, Edouard, in a few minutes, is going to share his experience. I put at the beginning as well the link to some of the digital solutions we have mapped from COLEAD. Very shortly, Edouard. Then we have a question. Some, thank you. You have answered them bilaterally because some are about contacts, etc., etc. And then we will have Axelle to present to us actually the blog we launch also today, which we will capture all these experiences and more that are from the audience that we want to bring in and to to develop further, because this is a session which is limited in time, so it's just the starting point of our conversation. Please, Edouard, can you do in few minutes if you are here, and Mohamed, si tu peux faire en sorte qu'Edouard. If not, I go to the questions, the time Edouard joins us, and I take him after.
He's here.
He's here, Edouard? Edouard? Ah, yes, I see him. Ah, yes, now I see him. Please, Please go ahead.
Very much. I was promoted as panelist, and that's why it took a bit of time.
Yes, indeed.
Very much, Isolina. So that's just a quick.
And because he's modest, let me just say in a few words, Edouard leads at COLEAD. That's nice. The Research and Innovation Brokerage program department, which indeed is what we are doing here, but more on the innovation side. I mean, linking smallholders, entrepreneurs with the research and university part. This is in a few words. We will post more information about the work, but you have experiences on the digital, and we have posted some of the solutions you have mapped. Thank you, Edouard.
Thank you very much, Isolina. Yes, just to give a quick word on the, let's say, activity we've been implementing and the lesson learned to some extent, because it resonates very much with the different experience and feedback provided by the different speakers today. Within COLEAD, within Research and Innovation Department, we are not, let's say, service provider or providing a tool or solution as you or today with the different company that we're presenting. As Jeremy was explaining before, our role is basically to support our partner beneficiary to understand this very complex environment, because of course there are a lot of technology out there, there are a lot of informations, and it's sometimes difficult to try to understand, make sense, identify what is the real and the most suitable technology adapted to certain needs. So we try to play the role of brokers, trying to create some linkages between what is existing and what are the needs of our partner beneficiary. And on top of that, our idea is to be able to do some pilots. And with these pilots, we try to assess the technology so we can provide feedback not only on a certain tools, but how this specific technology can be applied in a specific context, and how we can use it to tackle certain issue or certain, let's say, need of our partner beneficiaries. We've been implemented so far for, let's say, project, one on blockchain and traceability, one on digital traceability only, one on artificial intelligence, trying to predict the yield of mango orchard, and one which is now starting, which will be also a similar technology that was presented today, which is the soil scanner, to provide quick, let's say, information on the quality of soil and etc. And all of these technology are great. They have great benefits. They also show some of the challenges. But what is the key lesson learned that we have been to understand along the way during this, let's say, review studies or during these pilots, is that there is, as I said, a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's difficult for the final user to understand very well how the technology can be helping them in the field. So the most important point, I think, to remember is that it must be as simple as possible. And all the tools that you are designing needs to be developed from the beginning directly with the final user. You have to take into account the need of your customer. First of all, understand very well what are their needs. I really appreciated today that some presenters showed that they took into account that the needs was, for example, soil data. Another said that we needed to adapt our app so we could fit in the cluster from the pineapple. This is the type of, let's say, day-to-day needs that the customer want to have in the app. And this is what makes the tool appealing in the end and useful for them. It's also really important to understand, as the last presenter was also explaining, the, let's say, enabling environments. You have to understand what are the different stakeholders that are, let's say, intervening, and how they are interlinked. Because sometimes we also keep in mind only the final user, and we just miss all the rest of the supply chain. And we might have a tool that is maybe only too niche or only supporting just one final use, which is not enough for it to be sustainable on the long run. And one important part is also, when you develop your tool, is to also develop the business model in direct contact with the final user and your customer. Of course, at the beginning of a startup, there is always some business angels, some financing from development, from banks, and etc. But if you want to be sustainable on the long run, then you have at some point to have a direct contact with your customer. And one of the learnings from our last, let's say, pilot project is that there was a big learning curve from the startup to discuss directly with the final user on how much they would be keen to invest on this tool and what is the suitable business model for them. So it's really important to make sure that all these elements are very much integrated from the beginning, because we all very good with technology and science, but in the end, it's important that those tools remain sustainably established and that they are, let's say, upscale and uptaken during let's say, the curve of the development of the company. So that's, let's say, in a nutshell, a quick part of what we have learned from the pilot and our research. And of course, we will continue and probably connect with some of you, or you can connect also with us. We are always interested to learn more about which are the technology that are out there and which one we can, help or support to recommend to our partner beneficiaries. Thank you, Isolina, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Edouard, and thank you for remaining. I mean, Axelle will put in the chat the email that you always have to reach out for pilots. As you heard, we have a certain number of facilities or support within COLEAD that can help us, and also, to present your successes like the ones that I've presented today. We have many, as you will, well, the presenters know, but perhaps you don't. Most of the enterprises that come to the sessions are not members or beneficiaries of COLEAD, and it's not the entry point. The entry point is that it's interesting path and growth to show successes that is local-led, that they are African, and wherever they are welcome. And we had some of the speakers that actually they reach out. So please continue to do that and send us contacts and proposals, to come and present your business model. So now quickly, the questions that are remaining for the speakers. I will read some. Pyrrhus, s'il vous plaît, vous avez...
Pyrrhus, you have... received a number of questions because some of the people are on their mobile phone and they don't necessarily see the chat. So I'm going to focus on some issues which are of interest for many people. So Pyrrhus, many people were asking for your contact. In which countries is ClinicAgro present? What is the degree of precision of your soil analysis tools? And then this is also something that is addressed to other speakers, how to duplicate, how to export this pineapple solutions that you have in Cameroon. How can we extend this to other sectors or other countries of Africa? So Pyrrhus, could you notice these questions?
You had also some questions about how your partnership is working. Is it by subscription? Is it through intermediaries? I mean, they would like a bit more of detail on how you deal from the production to the latest, let's say, mile, which is the consumer, and what kind of relationship you have developed. And then for Ulrich. Alors Ulrich, de nouveau pour vous, est-ce que cette application peut être alors achetée, alors exportée dans d'autres pays, et certains vous demandent si elle peut être achetée par un autre pays. Ça concerne aussi d'autres, si vous voulez bien l'indiquer, et notamment par exemple au Tchad. Stephen MUCHIRI, Steve, there is one, I know that you have answered it, but just a quick reminder for those that cannot access the chat now. First, is the e-Granary open to any user order, or is it, of course, reserved to the EAFF members, which are already many, because there are many countries, and on top of that, you have said that more than 263,000 farmers are in the benefiting from it. But is it open eventually outside the EAFF? And also, is the e-Granary checking some of the SPS, the sanitary and phytosanitary standards, in promoting intra-regional trade? Daniel, vous avez une question sur est-ce que les écosystèmes sont organisés par filière de production?
Ecosystems, is it by production systems, or is it more holistic? In other words, is it for all the farmers, regardless of the sector that they are present on? So, Pyrrus, would you like to quickly answer the questions addressed to you? And then, obviously, you can add any comment that you think might be relevant regarding what you've heard from other speakers. Thank you very much, says Pyrrus. Well, thank you very much. I have loved the presentations made by the other speakers. I believe that Africa is moving forward. So now, regarding the question about the reliability of our app, it's present in Togo, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Conakry, Congo-Brazzaville, DRC, and Cameroon. Of course, these are the focal points where they have purchased the kit, which is being distributed to farmers on the ground. So this means that to form a partnership, it's easy because you have a digital system. The tool is less than 800 grams, so it's relatively light. You can take it to the field, and we've taken into consideration the needs of the farmer, because we know that to conduct a soil analysis, he has to travel hundreds of kilometers to go to the capital. What we wanted was to bring the lab to the field. So we have an SMS platform called Agricom, which is relatively simple. We have 8 to 10 countries which are already using and who have studied the solution. No sensors. It costs less than 50 euro cents per week. It takes a picture and you can use the solution. So this is the best way to manage the water that you have available, which is a rare resource. But we are also making forecasts, and we are suggesting solutions, irrigation solutions to the farmers, and we also want an optimum irrigation plan so that the farmer can reduce the quantity of fertilizer which is used and improve productivity of the crop. Now, we needed to have reliable data for the country to be deployed. Regarding the soil analysis kit, the engineers, the agricultural engineers need to spend 800 euros to purchase it, and then they can use it with their teams. If you have other questions, I'm available, of course. I think I've tried to answer all of them. Thank you very much. This is going to be part and parcel of the blog. What you said about the kids, the WhatsApp group also, because you've already given this information publicly. Ulrich, are you there to answer your questions? So can this be bought by another country? Chad would be interested, possibly. Is this possible? I believe this is not a problem, says Ulrich. It's just a matter of discussing what already exists in Chad, what is the production in the country. So we can certainly suggest an adaptation to the app So if you contact me by WhatsApp, we can have some exchanges and discuss this. Okay, if you have nothing else to add regarding what was said throughout the session, of course, you can always ask for the floor again. Abraham, what about you?
You had a few questions. If Abraham, the time it gets, we can go to Steve.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Isolina, I had two questions, access to the e-Granary. Yes, as long as the farmers are organized, either as a cooperative, a business unit, as long as they have some history in that commodity, then we can always enlist them. And for us, the service is free. We don't charge the service. And like I said earlier, we bring together most of the actors along the value chain. So if it's issues of the markets, then we sign a contract. If it's insurance, we cover the crop and the commodity. We advise when to plant based on the projection of the rainfall. Of course, the input company, depending on its size, we're able to know the agronomic requirements, soil requirements, so forth and so on. In fact, one of the things we're also encouraging our farmers to do is to enhance soil carbon in the soil. I think in addition to having any kind of fertilizer program, from our experience, soil carbon levels are very low. So for sustainable farming, that is one of the things we're encouraging our members to do. When it comes to SPS, I think I answered it well. So one of our partners is IITA. I think the question was around aflatoxin, actually. Yeah? So one of our partners is IITA, and IITA is supplying Aflasafe, which helps manage aflatoxin. So Aflasafe is part of our input package. Yeah. So when we then plant, you also try and ensure that we are planting in areas where aflatoxin prevalence is low, so that then you're not susceptible to that. And then during the life of the crop, like I said, we get advisory from the insurance because aflatoxin also comes in when there's water stress. So if there's enough rainfall, then you advise on what crop to plant, whether there's an early maturing or a late maturing. So if there's going to be challenges of weather, rainfall, then you plant an early maturing, means then there's less predisposition to aflatoxin. And then at the point of harvest, one of the services we provide is machinery or mechanization. And one of the service providers provides dryers. So the maize is either dried if it's still rainy, like in Rwanda, there's a seasons that overlap. And then in other countries, then we've provided the cooperatives with moisture meters. And they're supposed to ensure that the maize is dry up to 13.5 degrees. Moisture level, sorry. And then the buyer that we have, or at least all the buyers now in Kenya and Uganda, is a requirement that you do a rapid aflatoxin test on receiving of material. So what you'll find is that as you're delivering, then they do a rapid test and they're able to tell you whether you have any aflatoxin or so forth. And also we have our traceability system. So in case there's any issue, you're able to tell it's farmer A or farmer B or farmer C. Thank you. I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you very much, Steve. And of course, feel free if you want to add anything. But that's why if we have donors and we had many registered, some are not here and see afterwards, the recording is critical to support, applications like those or like the e-Granary that then are accessible to smallholders, because that is really a problem. And that is also a package of different services together. This is also to really stress what Daniel had said before, that is not just the technique part. That's very important to understand.
Very true. You've had so many developments from the point when we started up to now. Even when you look at credit and the cost of lending, it has been decreasing because the banks, because of the farmer history, they're trusting the farmers more. We're even seeing them diversifying the credit products. We were only lending to grain, now they're lending to horticulture. They are giving loans for school fees. A lot of things have actually changed. The dynamics have really changed. And even our engagement with ETG, most of the companies could not give forward contracts with prices. Now they're actually giving with prices. So I think a lot of things have changed. Even with the insurance now, the cost of the premium has been reducing because, again, we are availing data and they're able to see how the crop looks like. And even when there's compensation, we're also using our own data. In fact, during our extension, there's a way we collect data using GPS location. So we're able to tell, if the insurance company doesn't want to compensate and they're providing certain satellite data. In Africa, the system is a bit different. You can be a kilometer apart and the weather is different. So we've actually used our own data to argue for better compensation for an insurance payout. So I think there's so much that is actually happening just behind the scenes. It's just that there's a lot of time and we can actually be able to explain this. Thank you very much, Isolina.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much, Steve, and congratulations. And please reach EAFF as long as you are an organized farmer, because that is, whatever scale, but you need to have a level of organization. Abraham, please. I admire you in the car. I'm a bit nervous for you, but I admire you that the whole session you have been managing to have connection and contribute. And please, Abraham, go ahead.
Could you kindly recite if there
Yes,
are any
it's just actually for you. Well, apart, the transferability. What do you think that your application can be used by other value chain and other countries? And they wanted also specifically to know what is the partnership? How do you work between the smallholders and the final user? I mean, what is the type of relationship you have developed?
Thank you for the chance again.
And anything you want to add, of course.
Yeah, just want to thank you for the opportunity again. And I will talk about scalability, how we intend to, or how we've been doing different approaches via scalability. So we normally want to look at associations. Like we know, Kenya has the KTDA, Kenya Tea Development Authority. Uganda has a similar version of KTDA, which is the UTDA. And Rwanda has, Rwanda's approach is a bit different because we have a company like Rwanda Mountain Tea having 7 factories. So when we enter an association with maybe a group of a multiple number of factories, we pin it directly into that group. And then we can do factory after factory. How we go down to the end user or the farmer is that through the factory, once you stabilize or add value to the product the farmers are producing and supplying to the factory, you definitely stabilize the factory price or quality, and then it also goes down to the end user or the farmer who has a stable income. If they have been selling at a certain amount of money and has been fluctuating, you're stabilizing that. And that's what we're targeting and looking forward to when it comes to how we are addressing that. Then how do we look at maybe going to different other agricultural products like coffee and cocoa? We benchmark approaches like we've learned from tea. There's a learning process that we've gone through. And then we think that coffee equally goes through certain levels like related to tea. And I want to dig deep into the research and first understand tea to maybe a better kind of level, and then we can approach other crops and other agricultural products. So right now we are focusing on tea, and we've done Rwanda, we're in Uganda, we're going to Kenya, and I think that gives us a sense of how we would approach scalability. We don't want to drive further and scale at an exponential rate, which we cannot manage. So we want to manage that. There are quite a number of factories and farmers, so we want to go step by step. Maybe what I can add on to that is that, of course, every idea and every solution grows over time. You don't know it all in the beginning. You keep refining the process until you master the process. We know that the developed world, and I think one of the people who presented here talked about the developed world having already solutions existing for their farmers that would leapfrog here. But at certain times, you find that we have legacy systems locally on the African continent that we can't directly plug in, leveraging what the developed world has. So indeed, we need to craft a number of solutions locally. The adaptability is a problem because affordability is another problem, because you realize that at InterConnect point, we've had to manufacture sensor chambers from as far as Switzerland because we couldn't find a suitable manufacturing partner for hardware on the continent. And we're targeting now to see, can China produce it at a more cheaper price? And this puts up a point that there's a lot of investment into infrastructure, especially when it comes to hardware manufacturing that is required on the continent, so that we can match the standard. And eventually we can export our solutions to the developed world. Because if you can build a solution locally and it is up to global standard, then you can export it globally. But if you can't build it locally, then it becomes expensive for you to build it in the developed world and then sell the developed world. So we need to work around partners like you guys at COLEAD and PAFO to see whether there's a lot of investment into building these solutions. What does it take to build these solutions? Do we just leapfrog, or do we just adapt to whatever environment we have and make it better? Discussions along that line, I think, are very good for us who are trying to combine hardware and software, whether it is latest technologies or leveraging what is already existing. We still need infrastructure on the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abraham. Very wise indeed, business thinking as well. And we continue the conversation with great pleasure. Daniel, you had a few, yes, also questions. And the last one, also the applications, are they viable to grains like meal, sorghum, maize, etc.? And are they the applications integrated to do advice, marketplace, finance, and the solvability part? If you can quickly address that one, and anyone you want to add as well. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely yes. Basically, the platform is designed to run over any crop, any production system, and any production basin. There is a back office which allows to set up all the parameters to describe a cropping agenda for a specific crop, a specific variety in a specific environment, you know, and for a specific system. And that agenda will determine how the platform and the service of the platform will be offered to the client at the front office. So we have that, but as I said to you previously, our objective is not to cover each crop unless we know everything about each crops. So when we go on a crop in a specific environment, is because we know, or we have partners knowing how this crop is, this plant is crop in this specific environment. So the parameterization of the crop is absolutely important, particularly when we talk about generating data, providing data that are really contextualized the need of the client. So that's one point on which, and yes, second point, yes, it is covering the entire chain from preparation of the cropping season to credit allocation to the different stakeholders, to credit installments during the cropping season. We have, I just sent, for instance, in the chat, one of our last development in IoT, we have a connected rain gauge that could be used by every single farmer, very cheap and connected, so that we can send advices to the farmers. So we have all these things that we develop to really support the farmers. We have mechanization services. We support mechanization service providers by providing them a platform through which they can really optimize their distribution, their service distribution towards the farmers. The same for the insurance company, and the same as well for the bank. Even we just know that for the bank it's a little bit much more complex so that to make the IT system of the bank, our IT system communicating with the IT system of the bank. So that's something which is a little bit more complex, but we are very well advanced. And also we are injecting a lot of artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence in our system. And that's the reason why it is important also to know exactly have the knowledge of the crop, the agronomic knowledge of the crop. It's something which is very important. And also the specification that the product that the market is looking for. That's something which is also very important to implement into the platform before to use it on a specific crop in a specific environment and for a specific production system.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Indeed, please reach out Manobi. They have an extensive website as well, and we continue the collaboration with great pleasure. It has been really, really very nice to listen to all these cases, and there are many, many more that we have to learn from and encourage. So the latest, quickly to finish on time for our interpreters, and I will not summarize the discussions. They are too rich, and everything almost has been said. But Axelle, you have been since the almost number 2 or 3 of these innovation sessions. We are today number 15. I've been constantly asking in the chat, that you want a platform to continue the exchanges beyond, of course, what is always limited, which is a 2-hour session. I mean, that's what it is. But to share more information, one, to consolidate what we all share in those sessions, and then to also have a platform for interaction among yourselves, which is lively, where you can post, you can interact what you are always asking in the chat. So we did put some resources which were unforeseen. So I do hope that you will make the most of what you have asked. I will monitor that closely. No, please. I mean, and Axelle will just show us quickly the platform, and we will, of course, share in the coming communication we will have. You know Axelle. I mean, I always mention Axelle. Axelle is a bit shy. She's the project manager within the department. So she's working. We work together, and she's also organizing all these sessions in the background. You know, that is where the most of work is happening, and has been putting a lot of work with Alison in the platform you are seeing, you are going to see now. So Axelle has a strong legal background to start with, but then a passion and a strong background as well on food systems and agri-food, and a passion for the private sector and the entrepreneurs that goes beyond my own, I would say. So please, Axelle.
Many thanks, Isolina, for those nice words. And thank you all for joining today. So I am quickly going to show you within the 2 last minutes we have the Agrinnovator website that we have developed with the PAFO. So the link is in the chat. You can click on it and then you access this very nice page. Agrinnovators is available in both English and French. Just click on the small flag at the top right side of the screen, and then you either have everything in French or everything in English. On this platform, you will have different features. One, on the top menu bar, you will see innovation sessions. And for this session, or in this tab, you will just retrieve all the innovation sessions that we had so far, up to session number 15. By clicking on any sessions, say now the number 13, you will be able to retrieve the program in all the languages available, speakers, biodata, a short summary of what the session was about, and then the link, which is usually asked for us, of all the presentations that were made by the panelists. And every time you have the presentation available in English or in French. And if you still scroll down, you'll have the access, apologies here, you should have the access to the recordings that are available on YouTube. You also have the access to the recordings on the first sentence in the article. Then, as you might know, we are also drafting business profiles about all the companies that have been featured in our session. And we will also start drafting the business profile about the companies who presented their innovations today. You can just go on business profile or fiche d'entreprise in French, and then click on any company that you might be interested in and find all the information about this company. We also have a section about impact stories, where we deep a bit more inside what a company that has been presented during one of the session is doing. Or for instance, ColdHub, they presented their company over 2 years ago. Then you have a bit of an update of what they've been doing since then. Lastly, if you go on the topic section, you have a top-down menu with different topics. These are mainly the topics that we access and discuss during the session. You can go, for instance, on climate resilience, where you will find first a small article setting the scene, but especially in the end, if you scroll down, you would have all the news that are linked to climate resilience, be it impact stories, business profile, or a specific innovation session about this topic. And lastly, this webpage also includes a networking feature. If you go on the homepage, then on the right side of your screen, you have this networking box. And if you click on Join Now, this will lead you to the forum platform that we have developed. And on this forum platform, you'll be able to start a discussion, answer to questions being asked in another discussion, and engage with other people, be it people who have attended the innovation sessions, people you know that might be interested in engaging with other entrepreneurs from Africa and beyond. And to access this, you just need to first create an account on this forum, and then you can launch a discussion or answer. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. You have all the information here in the tab Contact, or here by filling out this little box. And we really hope that you are going to enjoy and use this website, as I believe it's something that you all, or a lot of you, have been requested over the last years. Thank you.
Very much, Axelle, and I hope again that all of you will use it to share information. We learned today is all about also sharing experiences, and you learn from them. Even when you have been successful, not all the pathway has been easy, and I think you learn a lot from the challenges as well. So please keep sharing the information. We will put it all there. And thank you very much. I don't want to summarize. We all agree that technological innovations are key for the value chain development for the agri-food sector, but they are just one of the components. We need much more around, and that's what all of you have shown as well. You need the very, very strong links, inclusive links with the smallholders, and I insist on that because they are really the lowest part in the chain, is the critical one, where they're very often forgotten. And you need to enable and support the whole value chain actors, but you also need to constantly update your skills, your networks, your contacts, your markets, and have a close relation with the policy side as well as the research. Don't hesitate to make the link. That's why also we have a brokerage function to make the link with some of the research, be at your local level or be at international level. And we will be continuing mapping, of course, the different applications in different value chains with PAFO along those sessions. I thank you everybody very much. Unless somebody from the speakers has still something to add. If not, what I would say is that it's always a pleasure with PAFO to organize that. I thank you very much, of course, the team from COLEAD, but even more the team from PAFO, who is very, very active. I thank very much the colleagues who have been also developing. It has taken them a lot of work because it was unforeseen on their plate that Agrinnovators. So I thank you very much, Gaetan from our side and his team, Sandra and Insa from the social media, from PAFO and COLEAD, of course, Axelle and Alison from our side. It is a lot of work behind, so that's why please use it to share your experiences. And we will just you will just receive all the presentations as usual, all the recordings, and now it will all be in one place, which is the Agrinnovators platform. And we will send you the invite for the next session very soon. Don't hesitate to make proposals for topics. Don't hesitate to send us if you are happy, and that's what we get as a feedback, that you are very happy with those sessions. Also, don't hesitate to come from the audience, jump and come from the other side and present also your business. So if nobody has any more to say, I would then thank very much on behalf of PAFO and on behalf of COLEAD. I will thank very, very much all the presenters. They have been excellent. I've learned a lot myself. I thank very much, of course, the interpreters, without whom we couldn't communicate. And I welcome you to the next session soon. And keep well. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Isolina. Bye-bye, everyone.
Daniel. Ah, Babafemi is back.
Isolina, on se reprendra après.
I just came.
Jérémy, si vous voulez bien.
Thank you very much for the.
Oui. Sorry, Babafemi, you finished your doctor appointment earlier. Please, if you have anything to add, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Just to thank everybody that have been part of this session, and I believe that you have taken something, and particularly the launch of the Agrinnovators forum, and I think I'm looking forward to a real on-site conference in Kigali, maybe next year, where we bring all these entrepreneurs and together on a physical site to really talk about innovation in the agricultural sector in Africa. So I wish you all the best. Thank you again. Bye-bye.